So loneliness, it's like I actually pulled some stats because that's the kind of girl I am.
I love that.
Yeah, so the World Health Organization is actually now naming loneliness as a public issue. 1 in 6 people worldwide, the gap between desired and actual social connections is what they consider loneliness to be. It's highest in young people, and that age is 13 to 29, right? 17 to 29% of people in that age group are reporting being lonely. And
Big
and that's
percent of
incredibly high numbers.
How many percent is that again?
17 to 29%
And
being,
that age
and
group
this
is
was a global study, so it's not just in the USA, it's actually a global study. And they found that, well, highest in teenagers, by the way, that age group is 13, sorry, to 29, but the percentage is 17 to 29%, with the highest being with young people.
wow.
Low income countries report twice the rate. So in general, 11% of the population are saying, I'm lonely. Yeah. And we know that these studies, it's only certain people, and not everyone's going to admit to being lonely and all of that, right? But 24% in low income countries are lonely. And so when I look at that, I go, this is a topic worth exploring.
Mm,
And because even some of my clients who are very successful, like in the way of financially and life, quality of life in general is good, but they're feeling isolated
mm,
as
yep.
well.
Right.
Yeah. And so I wanted to start by asking you, when has been your most loneliest time? And what was it for you?
Wow. When we discussed this and we said that you told me that we're gonna be speaking about loneliness and my mind went to, wow, hang on a minute. When was the time that I was lonely? For me, I think it's really interesting, especially for someone like me, because I'm an extrovert.
Mm,
And an extrovert, we like people being all around us, and I always look for people, and I can't sit still. I have to be among people, but I think the most lonely I've been must have been during the time when I was single, and during the time when after I was going through my divorce. Um, yeah. So that was loneliness. Well, immediately after the divorce, I didn't experience loneliness. It was just painful,
yeah.
right? So it was after everything, the dust has settled, and I've rebuilt my life. Usually when I think after people have gone through some kind of trauma or a loss or something like that, they don't have time to think about loneliness. They're in
Mm,
panic mode, right? It's either flight or fight mode, and you're always trying to figure things out. So maybe if you went through a financial loss, then you want to figure out what's next for you and how you're going to recover. If you've gone through a loss in regards to divorce, you're going to be doing this and that, right? You got to do the divorce matters, going to court, seeing lawyers and figuring out the assets and the kids and co-parenting and all those kind of things. And once, or even if you have lost a loved one, you got to figure out the funeral, you got to, and then there'll be people
yeah.
all around you and all those kind of things. So loneliness doesn't kick in until everything has settled.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was, I think after a few years, after no, probably after a few months after my divorce, then loneliness starts to kick in, right? Because you don't have that person to go home to with. And at that time, I remember I was being a single dad, and my son would come and spend the weekends with me. And even when my son was with me, it was lonely, because what was familiar to me was to be with him and my wife, and that was
Yeah.
how we spend our weekends together. So that was interesting how, so now that you asked me that, that brought me back that brought back
Okay.
memories, and it's really, really interesting. For me, that was how I would experience loneliness. Now, when you say about certain people who are really, really successful and stuff, I think I think I can also imagine that. And there's a saying that they say that it gets lonely at the top.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think I don't know how far it's true. I think it's a matter of perspective and how you got to the top. If you got to the top without building connection, then I guess that's how I mean, when you arrive to your destination, of course it would be lonely.
Yeah.
You got to the top through building connection. The higher you go up, the more connections you would have.
Yeah. I think it's incredibly complex, because I know in my life I've felt immense loneliness at different times,
Mm.
even though I had a very, as a performer and a workshop facilitator and I've had times in my life where I was like really in the public
When
eye. And
you say workshop facilitator, can you tell me a bit more? What was that? What?
so look, it was when I was working in the community a lot, and it was always based with performing arts, singing,
Oh,
music, body music, theater, like performing arts.
right.
But I would do projects well, see, this is interesting because it was always about bringing people together,
Yeah, yeah, that's the
connecting people.
hearing you say this, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I've been a connector my whole life. That's really vital for
Mm,
me,
mm,
bringing people together, bringing concepts together,
mm.
and all of that. And also breaking down barriers and boundaries, not healthy boundaries, the things that separate us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what loneliness, that's lonely. And so isn't it funny, like I know loneliness really well. I don't suffer it anymore like I would have suffered loneliness. That doesn't mean I don't feel alone at times,
Right.
but I have a different way of being with it. But I also have someone by my side. One of my clients this morning, who is her partner, her life partner died like, over a decade ago. But
Mm.
this was her original high school sweetheart, married, only person ever.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And she was talking to me about that thing of being a widow
right.
and the loneliness attached with that. That
Right.
is a different, it's a different thing. And even though I can relate to a whole pile of stuff, we were talking about that, her experience is her experience. And so, like, she's at this point of really, she's got success in many areas of her life. She's at this point of really getting that connection to herself.
Wow.
And I think loneliness, I know as I've gotten more connected with myself, I have a different view of the aloneness,
Yeah.
it's a different experience. But we all have these different experiences. And that to me is where, like I love voice, right? I love the power of voice, and it heals and it does all sorts of things. To sing together is one of the most powerful healing connection ways that you can experience. And like there's been so many studies done on this now about community choirs and what it does. And in my years of like learning to conduct and conducting, choir and stuff like that, I just saw it as this magic because what it was you felt intimately connected with people because you learnt to sing together.
Mm. And you learn to harmonize.
Yeah. But you know what? You don't have to know all their crap. You don't have to. And there were people that I absolutely loved, but when we went to hang out together outside of choir, yeah. Not really people I wanted to be with a heck of a lot. In that setting, absolutely adored them
Wow.
and felt so strongly connected. So strongly. It was really interesting. And this has happened many times. So it's not like it was a one-off. And I don't mean I disliked the people. It was just, wow, the connection we have through singing and harmonizing does not travel into day-to-day life in the same way.
Wow. You know what I'm hearing is, and I was just about to say that because you brought up a very, very good point. It's like through as we go through life, we experience loneliness differently at
Yeah.
different stages of our lives, and also our definition of loneliness evolve as well.
Yeah.
Right. And when we speak about loneliness, I mean, we can be surrounded by people. I would imagine if I go to Google, for example, and I want to Google an image of loneliness, and I'm pretty certain there'll be a long list of pictures of someone who's all by himself or by herself, right?
Yeah.
But is that really the definition of loneliness, just being all by yourself? You can be in a room with thousands and thousands of people and
Yeah.
still be.
Absolutely. Well, look at the trauma that so many, idols and, famous people. And so
Yeah.
they have all of this, what can be perceived as success, and they have money and they have all that, but they actually have a lot of suffering
Mm. Mm.
and a lot of feeling of loneliness and
Yeah.
isolation and
Yeah.
fear of connection.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. I was watching, there's a singer, Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, he's iconic.
Yeah.
And a media mogul, Jamie Packer, the son of Kerry Packer, owns so, or did own, I don't know where they're at now, but did own massive, massive global media empire,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And so Kerry grows up and he's having the life and all of that. But what was going on was incredible mental strain, and he blew mega millions and ended up he's a chronic mess. And him and Robbie Williams became friends through
Mm.
mental illness, through
Mm.
mental breakdowns.
Mm.
And I watched an interview that someone did with the two of them. It was fascinating. And Jamie Packer was going, I have to say, I'd rather be rich and have a mental breakdown than be poor and have a mental breakdown. But the money doesn't stop it and the money doesn't solve it. And in fact, he's on lithium, he's on all sorts of medication. So the level of loneliness and isolation and unhappiness in his life is actually extremely high.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, you hear a lot of this stories about some really, really successful people committing suicide and stuff, and they just can't take it. I think, and I think in that loneliness is when all the demons come,
Oh, you hit it right on the head.
right? So it's like
I-
when there is space and we allow space to fester, and maybe the devil will fill it up.
oh my God, that's so, that's really profound for
Yeah.
me. It resonates really strongly with my lived experience. And also, I've had two brothers that killed themselves.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Who got this?
yeah, yeah.
This is
And
your your blood brothers.
yes.
Right. Was it an accident or was it really, really committed
Oh
suicide?
no, no, no. It was deliberate. Yeah,
Right.
one actually jumped off a cliff, a 3,000-foot cliff, and walked up to that cliff to do
Right.
it. And the other one was at a sink. But this is when you say about demons, that's my belief with this. Like we have resonant frequencies. Yeah, like, and you draw things to you. Like the stuff we know now about thoughts create your reality. It's not just thoughts, it's a whole bunch of things, but your thoughts, that resonant frequency actually creates what's going on and attracts things to you and people to you. And I think when people get down, there are definite you call it demons, call it bad energy, whatever you want to call it. But I know a complete stranger was with one of my brothers,
My goodness.
the one that slashed his wrists, and his life was in fact really good at that point, really good. Yeah, there'd been a lot of darkness, but it was he had so much around him. He had a job and an employer who was continually trying to get him to step into a managing role because he loved him so much and thought he was so brilliant. He had friends. He had a yacht building project going on. He had family that was not blood family, but children who called him uncle. He had
Wow.
a whole life, right? You just wouldn't, but he stood at that sink and he had really bad thoughts. And someone sat with him. They busted in. He came to, yelled. The neighbor actually ended up coming in. A guy going by had busted the door in, and the neighbor came in, and she was with him till the ambulance came, but the ambulance didn't come in time, so he bled to death. Yeah. And he talked to
Goodness.
her, and she sent my mother a letter,
Wow.
pages and pages of everything that he talked about. And it was like something had taken him over.
Wow.
And so I have this real thing about it. And in my family, there is depression. Yeah,
Right.
there is that. There is that. There is this thing. And we actually laugh about it now, not about people killing themselves, but about this Delany demon.
Right. How many siblings do you have?
How many? I had four brothers. My mother had three babies that died at different times that I never got to see. But I have four elder brothers, or had. I now have only one because one passed away a year or so ago. But that was from a heart
And
condition.
you're the youngest?
Yeah, and the only girl.
How old were you when your brothers passed?
The first one, I was 18.
Oh, okay.
And the second one, I would have been 30 something, I think. Yeah, I can't remember the exact age, but around that 30s. It was pretty mind-blowing at the time. Both of them.
This was in Australia?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I know lonely. That's so funny. I had no idea we would end up talking about this, but I know loneliness really well, and I know that isolation, and I know the voices that come. Like that's why the work that we all do, it's not lip service, and it's not just about making money and all of that. Like building building an empire where people can come and actually find that strength within themselves
Mm,
and honor who they are and
mm,
be able to face their own demons, to embrace those sides and those things within ourselves that often we're really scared to look at, or
yeah.
yeah. But it's through that, and I know from my own experience,
Right.
like that's where the big peace comes. That's where the strength comes, and that's where the appreciation of life comes, through going through the tough stuff and making yourself keep going.
How do you experience loneliness now? You get pockets of it at least?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Not I don't see it as when you see the photos and it's not like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like that. It's
Yeah.
like
Emptiness. A little, you feel emptiness at times.
or not even emptiness anymore. It's more a thing of not feeling like I quite fit.
Ah, not fitting with people or not fitting with circumstances in the situation.
Just not fitting. Where is where is my, where is my place?
Wow.
And I don't have to have one either. Like, this is the irony of it. It's kind of weird because that doesn't really, it's funny, like to look at it, like what it is. But
Right.
I do feel, yeah, I definitely have that.
Or you feel a bit off.
Yeah.
And
It's
do you,
definitely a thing about, yeah, where is my place? Kind of. I'm
right.
saying definitely. And then I'm going, it's a hard one to encapsulate because who I was before would have said, oh yeah, there are times when I'm really low. But I don't really have those same experiences anymore. What about you? What
I
is,
think I can relate to what you're saying. Um, because we're talking about the definition of loneliness, right?
yeah.
And not belonging. And yeah, that's another definition of loneliness. Um, Another small definition of loneliness is feeling as though it just feels that everything is a bit off, and,
Mm,
and things are not falling into place as to how I would want it. Would I consider that as loneliness? Yeah, probably. It gives me that same feeling, right? Because
yeah.
this detachment from your desires, so to say.
Yeah. Well, that's even what it, because I actually wrote it down. Loneliness is the gap between desired and actual social connections.
Mm, right, right. So
And
that's it.
social is any interaction, really. That's to me what social means.
Yeah.
It's partying. It's all interactions.
And how do you deal with that today? So yeah, I think I can, and I would say I have pockets of it. I don't have like long stretches of
No.
loneliness. And I don't think I've ever experienced that either in my entire life, even when I was single and, completely single and totally terrible at relationships and couldn't even land a decent girlfriend. But even then, I still had people around me and I still had friends and so I think throughout life I've always experienced pockets of loneliness, not long stretches of loneliness. I don't think I've ever experienced that before. How do you deal with that today?
So I come back to presence.
Mm,
Yeah, like that connection with me and the source
mm,
of all that is and this planet. That's
mm,
all that, yeah, like in times as we watch things crumble in the world around us and times of such great uncertainty and division and all of those things on a global scale,
mm,
it is by coming back to
mm.
me
Yeah,
and looking at what am I doing here? What am I here on the planet for?
right,
What do I want to be creating?
right,
There is there's a bigger sense of something for me.
right.
And that is, yeah, that's what allows me to not be taken down. And I
Mm,
think after coming through so much, I know that I don't, it's up to me how I manage these feelings and where I go with it. Because I know that by reaching out and making choices to do things, to change things, to be a certain way, I can change the energy of everything.
yeah,
So I know that I don't have to stay there. I
yeah,
in fact know that it is totally a choice.
yeah,
It's just like with your partner. If you're going to get shitty with your partner, like, are you going to stay there or how long are you going to stay there?
yeah,
It's a choice.
it is.
It's really a choice.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's probably one of my things is knowing intrinsically that there is a choice in how I respond and where I take myself and my thoughts.
Mm,
And so seeking and connecting with what is going to uplift me. And these days that can be super simple. I can, a tree. You know, like, we live on this incredible planet. You know, like, I can find solace in a tree.
Find one, hug it.
Yeah. That's the general gist. Yeah. And in a song and singing and writing and, like really the lens with which we look through,
Yeah.
the lens that we create as filters,
Mm,
like this is how we live life.
mm,
And I came from the dark, like abuse and all sorts of really horrible, horrible stuff. Yeah. But I came with a gift for lightness and I came with the gift of gratitude. I didn't even know that some people, till much later in life, that gratitude is not natural for everyone. Some people actually struggle with gratitude.
mm.
And I've led this life that has introduced me to so many different ways of living and being.
Can you explain a bit more in regards to gratitude that you came with gratitude?
Yeah, definitely. So, right from the very beginning, I was able to just be grateful. I was just so grateful for things people did, or I was, I could really thrill at very small things, and and that helped me to keep going through a lot of abuse and dark stuff. So
Mm,
and not that that didn't impact on me, it did. And I am actually pretty autistic. So I had to learn how to even kind of relate in the world. And so having this gift of being able to be grateful,
mm,
it's a two-sided thing. It led me to kind of be a bit of a people pleaser and try and fit in and do all of this stuff as well. But it also was a saving grace for me because it's very easy for me to forgive. It's very easy for me to just let go and go on to the next thing. It doesn't mean that I don't experience hurt and stuff like that. I don't mean that. But there just is this power in gratitude
Do
that
you
means
think it was, I mean, if you were to look back, did it come naturally or was it developed because of the experiences? Or because your soul chose those experiences to go through all this pain and hurt, such that you become this sort of person that is grateful? I know that's what I'm trying to understand. I'm also trying to get my head around this, right? So things like all these amazing attributes that human beings have, this positivity, this positive energies and stuff. Um, did we develop it? Did we learn it through pain and through pain and the process and the experiences? Or which one was natural and which one was picked up as we went through life?
I think it's a combo.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, because I've now met way too many people that I've worked with that actually don't have the same ease with gratitude. It is something they really have
Really
to
gotta work on, right?
really
Right.
work on.
Yeah.
I remember one of like this was a long time ago, and I'm working with somebody, and and I was saying to her, it was actually, I was a masseuse at the time, but I would counsel people, they would ask me stuff. And anyway, this woman is talking to me, and I told her about gratitude. I said, like, what have you started to be grateful? Because
Right.
she was telling me the experiences in her life. And to be honest, at that point, I was thinking, sister, that's nothing. Like, what are you? I didn't say that, but I'm going, really? Okay. So you might want to look at gratitude.
Right.
And and I got a message from her going, oh my God, I left you. And I sent my husband who was at work, I sent him a message going, my masseuse just said to me to look at gratitude. And I don't even know, like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. And he responded with 10 things he was grateful for her for.
Wow.
Contacted me and said, it was beautiful. So you can imagine what happened in their life.
Yeah.
Because the
Wow.
next time she came with a list of what she was grateful for.
Mm.
And this, like, I mean, I've got goosebumps in my whole body just remembering the
Wow.
the raise in her energy.
Right.
And so that was the first time that I really realized, oh my God, not everybody finds it easy. Not
Yeah.
everybody is even aware of the power
Yep.
of that gratitude
Yep.
is.
Yep.
And I think when you get hit with a lot of crap and a lot of dark, it does become something that you really, if you're not going to turn into a bitter twisted, you must actually grab hold of that ability to be grateful and see where it's taking you.
Right. Because that's the light.
Yeah.
And when you're in darkness, and the darker it is, the more you tend to want to reach out for the light. But of course, there's some people who goes the other direction. It makes them worse. And we understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I would agree with you. It's a combination of both. It's something that we have innate within us, but at the same time, it's also a muscle that needs to be built on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And always, and that's what I mean about choice.
Mm,
We have a lot of power
mm,
and choice in where we're going to take something.
exactly. And what I'm hearing is now that you're saying that loneliness is a choice.
And we don't like, it's not about judging people who are feeling that. It's not about that. Oh my God, it's so not about that. But
Right.
it is about this process. And this is why I do what I do, and why I think it's so important, yeah,
Mm,
is that we have to, if you don't realize that there's a choice, and even if you do, quite often getting help is going to be the greatest gift
yeah.
that you can.
Yep.
I sought out and used a lot of teachers to get to where I am.
Mm, understand. Yeah. Yeah, it is. I totally get that. And since we were talking about it, I mean, you could be feeling it, but if you don't label it as loneliness, then it doesn't really become loneliness.
Yeah,
And labeling it as loneliness is a choice,
yeah,
right? Because it can just be feelings, but until we give it meaning, then that emotion exists,
yeah. And
right?
we can act like magnets. Like that was the thing with the death thing. That's what I think goes on a lot. You start to have these thoughts and this darkness and these voices, and it just grows and grows if you can't break out of that.
No balls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, yeah, that's why being a joy in the world and bringing what you can and being present with people. I was talking with somebody recently, and it was this morning actually. It was with that client, and I was getting her to look at what are the good things, what are the great things about her? What does she bring?
Hmm.
And she was talking about, going through the checkout and having this interaction with this person, and I've done the same thing where you actually treat them well
Hmm.
and honor them, and they come out of their zone and say hi. And yeah, because there's a lot of people that aren't acting like that. So your choice to spread the light
Right.
has so much power that
Yeah.
you don't even know.
Yep. Yep. I hear you. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Can I ask another question? Since you you were talking about. How many clients are you coaching right now? One to one. If do you do any one to one?
About 6 or 7.
Right. And how long have you been doing this coaching work?
So in various formats for many, many years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I had a break during the lockdown, and that was like a decompression, destruction, really. Deconstruction, not destruction. Well, a destruction and a recreation. And so this time it must be getting close to a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And well, it's coming to a year for me now.
Yeah.
And I realize that especially after I do sessions with my clients, yes, there are times where I do feel a bit tired because we give so much energy. But at the same time, I also feel energized
Yeah.
by this work. It's just so profound experiencing what they are going through. And I'm like, and I tend to check in. I'm like, I don't think I did that. That's a higher power. I was just a vessel. And in that process, I get to learn so much as well. I get to reflect on myself, and I get so much value from it as well. And as you were sharing all this, I was like, yeah, I could relate because that's how I feel as well. Sometimes when we speak to our clients and we get so much value. Sometimes when we some people ask me, how do you coach people and stuff? It's actually through experience, right? As you speak more and more to them, then you tend to know more stuff. And also how we create, even when we speak about creating contents for social media and stuff, I get loads of ideas, especially after I've engaged a potential client or a client, right? It all just comes and I'm like, wow. And it's so invigorating to actually sit in front of to do this work. I don't know. I love it in that sense.
Yeah,
And
I
I-
get it.
yeah, and Ida was like, I think this was probably almost a week ago. Ida asked me, and Ida was like, you got to be honest with me. Do you do this job? Because I remember last time when you were in the finance world and you said this was it for you, and you're so passionate about this, and you felt that this is your calling, and this is how you help people. And I said yes. And now that we don't have that anymore, and now you're doing this and you're saying the same thing as well. You're saying that you're so passionate about this and all those kind of things. Are you just saying that because we need to make money right now? Because we've decided to leave that world behind and there's just nothing else to do? Um, and I told her, well, genuinely, I really like it.
Yes, it's amazing.
It is, right? I really, really
Yes.
like it. Yeah, of course, there is this ups and downs and stuff, because we are also at the building stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. I really, really, I love this work, and I love nothing more fulfilling than seeing people see the light and seeing that sparkle in their eyes. It's just amazing. I love
Yeah.
that.
It is, like with my client this morning, like she has done so much work.
Yeah.
Holy Toledo. And she is a coach herself, you know, like and amazing at what she does. But it's the same thing. Like she said to me, "Oh my God, Delaney, you just blow me away. Like, you can just get that and bring it out and
Yeah.
put it to words that I can't." And it's like, how can you not be thrilled by that? And also, in the work that we're doing, it's really deep, and it's deep connection stuff. And people actually open themselves up and share really intimate parts of themselves with you. And it's a real honor, like it is a real honor when
Yeah.
people trust you
Right.
to that degree.
Hmm.
And also, I find that when you're in that space, and this will be why you're, like as you go, you get stronger and it doesn't drain you because you learn techniques of what's really going on. And also you're connecting with source.
Hmm.
When you actually have those wisdom and and you go, wow, okay. I'm getting that information. That to me is that intuitive connection with the source of all that is. I don't care what your belief system is.
Hmm.
But there is an energy of creation that is the source of it all. And that to me is this wisdom and knowledge that we have the ability to tap into. And when we enter this work and this fear, and we are continually growing our own skills, like I know what you're the same. You never take the foot off the pedal. You are always growing more. You
Mm.
are always expanding as a person and
Mm.
as a coach and leader and all of that. And so that just gets stronger, that connection with source. And that allows us to bring a quality and a level to the work that's, yeah, transformational for people.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's an interesting world. It is. It's new to me and it's really, really unique. And I also see a lot of people out there who just wants to be coaches and because they love giving.
Mm.
And I get that. But to give is also a gift that
Yeah.
has to be earned. And that was something I learned as well, right? To get a client into my space, that has to be earned. Although I may have this conversation, well, but I'm here to give. How come they're not coming? Even that has to be earned. And
Yeah.
wow, and I'm learning all this and I'm starting to discover all this. And I think a lot of people struggle there. And I think that's the reason why they're like thousands and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of coaches out there, or coaches want to be out there. And but however, they just, you know, they've got so much to give, but they probably haven't come to the realization that to give is also something that you need to earn.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah. Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah.
It's really
It,
bizarre because it's like, hey, I've got all this knowledge I want to share, yeah, but who wants to hear it until you
yeah.
earn it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole process. There's so many different facets to it. And
Yeah.
that is another level of loneliness. That
Mm.
is the loneliness of the entrepreneurial
It
journey.
is.
That
It
at
is.
times
It
you can,
is.
like it's not the same as going to work for someone else.
Mm.
It
Mm.
takes a lot. It
That loneliness I can
requires,
so relate to, and it's what I'm experiencing right now. You know, that journey that I'm going through because yeah, because we're building it on our own.
yeah,
It's so not like going to work and stuff. But as we build, of course, then we'll start having teams and all this kind of thing. But in the meanwhile, it is a lonely journey.
yeah,
Starts off
yeah.
with that.
And I think even when you've got teams, because that is just a whole other level of responsibility, it is a different, it's so different, and I know the longer that I commit to this, the longer that I keep committing and keep committing and keep committing, and the more I have to grow, and the more, like all of these different elements have to come into play. And I don't know that the journey will ever get so there isn't some pockets of loneliness there,
Mm,
because that is the nature of it.
mm,
Like you're the leader of it.
mm,
You may have a team, but you're the leader. And
mm.
so you have connections with people, and that's great. Like it's like you and I have this, and this is really wonderful.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it has to come back to our own commitment and our own actions that align with our vision and our values, and to
Mm.
keep that going. And as a human, yeah, I think it's easier to be lazy.
Tell me about it.
So we have to keep building the muscle. What I do want to share is that the latest research on the brain has come out with that when we make ourselves do things that we don't want to do, like whether it's not eat that or exercise here or do this or be an entrepreneur and keep on going. When we make ourselves do stuff, there's a part of our brain, yeah, and it's linked with willpower, but it's also linked with our desire to live life.
Mm,
And so when we make ourselves do things that are tough to do, this part of our brain grows,
mm,
and it directly relates with our zest for living.
Mm.
And also they say that they've been looking at the brains of older people, and when they have done this and it's still evident in their brains, and they have higher quality of life.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess the opposite of that, the things that would kill that would be instant gratifications, addictions. It
Let me
would,
scroll another 20 hours of my life away.
right? Those doom scrolls. Yeah.
Let me Netflix myself into oblivion.
Yeah. But it's interesting because there are times we just have to, I don't want to justify it, but only when you're there, when you've experienced it, then you realize, oh man, this is crap.
Mm,
Sometimes we need to go into the darkness to recognize and be grateful of the light.
yeah. Yeah, that's that's the human experience,
It's just
isn't it? Because
insane.
it doesn't matter whether you are like I've met a couple of monks that struggled. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, it's like,
Because they're still human, they're not aliens. They just happen to choose to be monks, but
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like, yeah, the human condition and what life is, and it is from the struggle that, well, look, even our brains are wired. So the things that are tough that we have to make ourselves do, we actually get this payload that goes on in the physiology of our brains.
Hmm, hmm.
And that, my friend, is a good place to end, because next time we can talk about some of the gifts of the body and how all of that, like that just amazes me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Wow. Interesting facts that you pulled out today. Really,
Yeah.
really, really appreciate them. It's so cool. Ah, okay. Bye bye.